Peace, family. It's your brother, Marc Lamont Hill. Welcome to Night School. Every night here on the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel, we hold Night School, where we break down the most controversial topics, the most interesting debates, the most compelling conversations going on in the world today. And tonight is no exception. It is already shaping up to be a fascinating and interesting, a complicated, a controversial, a difficult, a painful week in so many ways. We started off the week yesterday with a conversation here on Night School with Susan Al-Bulhawa and Norman Finkelstein as we talked about the just really incredible reality, and I mean incredible in the literal sense, like not believable, the incredible uh, circumstance that we've encountered, which is 365 now, 366 days of genocide in Gaza. It's a stunning reality, and October 7th is the day that the global community recognizes. It's the day that will go down in history. It'll be compared to 9/11. It'll be compared to all of these other sort of historic dates. But in many ways, the historic date for those of us who believe in freedom and those of us who advocate for justice is not 10/7, but rather 10/8. Today on 10/8, we recognize that this was the moment where the Israeli military invaded Gaza. This is the moment where the Israeli state launched the pretextual war and invasion of the Gaza Strip as a means of ensuring a demographic assault on the Palestinian people and particularly the people of Gaza. So I can't help but think about October 7th as a serious moment of reflection and a serious moment of solemnness and somberness. But I also got to think about October 8th. I can't just think about October 7th. I got to think about October 8th. Just as if we're going to be honest about this thing, we also have to think about October 6th. That is the same. We can't understand any of this if we don't have a sense of history. If we don't understand that life in Gaza on October 6th and October 5th and 4th, all the way back to 1948, and really before then, that it's all connected. That it's the history of repression, the history of oppression, the history of alienation, the history of apartheid, the history of settler colonialism, the history of ethnic cleansing, the history of genocide. It's those histories that get us to October 7th. And then the response is evidenced on October 8th. And so I'm grateful to everybody who was here for that conversation we had last night about it. Josie Justice said, last night's show was a must-see. Susan Abulhawa saw this genocide with her own eyes. Pray, scream, shout, march for Palestine. That's absolutely true. I also want to shout out all the college students all around the country who continue to march and fight in solidarity with the Palestinian people and for the cause of Palestine. I saw photos from Columbia University, Cornell University, University of Chicago, University of California, Berkeley, all yesterday on October 7th. And the thing is, these weren't people who were granted a protest area. These weren't students who were told, hey, you can march in that corner, and they march. No, these were people who were told, don't show up. These were campuses that repressed resistance. These are campuses that said we're going to criminalize any kind of student activism. And yet they resisted anyway. They fought anyway. They stood up anyway because they understand that liberation has to be the goal. Self-determination has to be the goal. Freedom has to be the goal. And that can't be achieved when the oppressors or the agents of the oppressor, the structures of the oppressor, the proxies of the oppressor are policing how you resist. Can't nobody tell you how to resist. So we got to think and talk about all that. John Ryan says, doing petty electoral politics while we are funding war crimes is disappointing. I think we have to do all the things. I think you're right that we can't do petty electoral politics and fund wars and think that we're somehow on the right side of history or that we're doing the best we can or that we're tinkering toward the outcome we want. No, we have to be honest about what we're doing. We have to stop funding war crimes. We have to have weapons embargoes. We have to stop using the national platform, the nation's sort of power in the global diplomatic sphere to shield Israel. But we also have to do electoral politics. Electoral politics is a vein, it's a lane, it's a tactic, it's a strategy. It's a tactic, not a strategy. And we have to think about how to do all of it. We have to do all of it. So now y'all pushing Trump and Putin. I'm not sure what that means. New York showed up and showed out. Absolutely. New York was filled with protests, not just on the college campuses, but all throughout. And it's always dope to see. This is gonna be an episode of night school where you're gonna see a yawn or two, y'all. It's night school. My old behind can't be up at 11 p.m., but I wanted to see y'all. I wanted to make sure that we did the work that we're supposed to do. But now let's get to it. Let's get to it. The first story that I think is super interesting, and not all, but much of it centers around Bob Woodward's new book. And Bob Woodward is always going to come out with a new book. Well, a new book by Bob Woodward details an ongoing relationship between Russian President Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump after Trump left the White House in 2021. A Trump aide told Woodward that Putin and the former president held as many as 7 private calls since Trump's departure in 2021. It's a lot of calls. The Trump campaign, of course, denies the claims by Woodward. In fact, the Trump campaign referred to Bob Woodward as demented and deranged. But just last month, Trump himself was standing next to Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky in New York, and he said he has a, quote, very good relationship with Mr. Putin. Now, you might say, why is this a problem? Or you're red baiting, you're this, you're that. Look, that ain't the point. Here's why it's a problem. It's illegal. It's a violation of the Logan Act. The Logan Act exists to prevent private citizens from undermining U.S. foreign policy. 7 one-on-one secret phone calls between Trump and Putin should warrant at least an investigation. Now, let's not forget why Trump was impeached the first time. He withheld U.S. aid to Ukraine in an attempt to extort Zelensky for fabricated information on the Biden family. So Trump is deeply ensconced in this messiness. I'm not one of those people that thinks we should be red baiting and making Russia the boogeyman of everything and saying, oh my God, he talked to Putin, it's over. But there is something very interesting about what Trump does versus what Trump says. There's something very noteworthy about how Trump moves through the world and how he engages Russia in violation of the very national laws that he claims to espouse and protect. So I think for me, it's not a question. It's not even about Russia or Russian politics. I think the U.S. has a very flat and narrow conception of politics where, Russia bad, Ukraine good, America good, so-and-so bad. We can't think about politics in that way. We can't think about the ultimate vision of our global community, or our vision for the global community, to be one where we play by those kind of Manichaean distinctions of good and bad. Anyway, something else I think is super interesting. Again, and another practical reason why the Putin-Trump relationship is so bizarre and fascinating to so many of us, and that is, according to Bob Woodward, again, his new book. Y'all got to read that Bob Woodward's new book, man. It has bombshells in it. And another bombshell is that in 2020, at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, I'm talking about people dying in the streets, people scrounging food, people trying to get tests, people trying to get tested, people all the things. If you remember at that time, the U.S. was faced with a shortage of COVID tests. And the coronavirus was spreading quickly. So what does Donald Trump do? Well, I know some of the stuff he did, y'all already know about. He made up stupid elixirs. He suggested that people drink bleach and, all kinds of wild stuff. But that's not all he did. According to Bob Woodward, again, I wasn't there. I didn't speak to any sources, but Bob Woodward is a trusted journalist. And according to Woodward, Donald Trump made the decision to prioritize Putin over the lives of hundreds of thousands of Americans who were dying. According to Putin, Donald Trump secretly sent Vladimir Putin the coveted test that should have gone to the American people. Now, Putin was notoriously fearful of COVID. I think you know that. And according to the sources, he told Trump to keep it all secret. So there's so many reasons why this is jacked up. Again, I don't care about Trump's relationship to Putin per se, but if that relationship is causing you to advance your interests at the expense of the very people who voted you, and then it becomes a problem. So I do think it's fascinating that in a moment where people wanted COVID tests, people were terrified of COVID, Donald Trump is shipping tests off to other countries. I don't care if it was Russia. I don't care what country it was. It's more just a fascinating reality that Donald Trump would be even attempting such a thing. Let's talk about your favorite mayor. Mayor Eric Adams. He is a character. I am never, ever surprised when these stories come out about Eric Adams, because to me, from day one, Eric Adams has been a hustler. Eric Adams has been, I don't call him a liar, but I'll just say Eric Adams does not inspire confidence. That's all I can say. Eric Adams does not inspire confidence in anybody. But that's it. Eric Adams, or at least his aide, is now charged with witness tampering. You all know Eric Adams had a top aide, a former top aide to the Muslim community. His name was Mohamed Bahi, and he was arrested, Mohamed Bahi, on charges of witness tampering and destroying evidence. Now, y'all know the Alphabet Boys is after Eric Adams, and it's very difficult to beat the feds. They got like a 99% clearance rate or something crazy like that. But this stuff don't help. Eric Adams' former aide, Mohamed Bahi, was in Manhattan federal court today, and he's being charged as part of the fast growing, but the ever-growing federal probe into Adams' 2021 campaign funding. Prosecutors accused Bahi of obstructing a federal criminal investigation by intimidating and threatening 5 witnesses. He allegedly directed them to lie to law enforcement with intent to hinder, delay, or prevent communication. Now, according to the assistant director of the FBI, quote, "These alleged actions were a deceitful attempt to conceal unlawful activity and create unnecessary obstacles for those working to uncover the truth." The FBI's Public Corruption Unit is handling this prosecution, and Bahi will face 20 years if he's convicted. So when somebody's looking at that much time, they're looking at 20 years. Here's what's going to happen. They're going to tell. They're going to tell the feds more than they want to know. They going to snitch. They going to talk out of school. They're going to tell tales. They're going to do whatever they got to do to make sure that they're home. So please understand that whoever Eric Adams has is like his right-hand man, his trusted, that mofo going to tell, because that's what they do. Now, why he's witness tampering, why he's tampering in federal cases, I can't say, because I don't know. I don't know what's true. I don't know what's not true, but I do know that it ain't looking good for your mayor, Eric Adams. That's all I'm going to say. All right, y'all, let's take a quick break. We're going to come back. I got a couple more things I want to talk to you about. This is a quick show, but I had to at least check in with y'all for a minute. So I was glad I was able to do that. And I want to take a quick break and come back with just a couple quick stories that we can talk about on the other side. Stay with me. Much more coming up. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. I see the comments out here. I'm reading the comments. Somebody said, bro takes commercial breaks for his live streams. Also, no Twitch live stream. Old man. Let me tell you something, Masood. I ain't got no producer here tonight. And I'm old. And I'm tired. And so if I don't take a break, y'all gonna get all kinds of craziness. I take the break so that I can load some new elements. I take the break so that I can pull up stories. And sometimes I take the breaks, I need to catch my breath. Like today, I'm coughing like crazy. So it's important for me to do that. Don't judge me. I'll be taking like 10-second breaks. It'll be that long, man. It don't be that long. Let's see here. Bullet the Bunny writes in, it says Kamal Adwan, El Auda, and Indonesian hospital are all being cleared. Shifa is being choked with tank and artillery. Pray for Gaza and the north. That's real. These updates are all important. But the fact that these areas are being cleared, a hospital is being cleared, it's just, again, it's a reminder that there are no safe spots. Because there's no belief fundamentally that there are any innocent people in Gaza. So that's why you can blow up a hospital. That's why you can attack people. That's why you can explode regions. That's why you can do all of these things, because at the core, there's a belief that these people are not human. Benjamin Morrell said, our brother Coates, talking about Ta-Nehisi Coates, said it, no Palestinian action can justify apartheid. That's right. It doesn't matter what happens. The CBS host notwithstanding, there's not anything anybody can say or do that would disrupt that logic. Although that brother tried it. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. James Harvey gifted 10 memberships. I'm so grateful to you, James Harvey. Thank you. You are a blessing. But yo, Chad Zichterman just gifted us 50 memberships. Thank you so much, Chad. You know I love you. You know I appreciate you, my brother. Thank you for making the channel what it is. You are one of those people whose generosity really keeps us going, and we absolutely need to keep going. But you're something else, family. Just know how grateful I am. I hope you know how grateful I am. I'm going to pull up this video because this is something very interesting. If you're into all the YouTube stuff, if you're a YouTube junkie like me, if you're a social media junkie, also, you'll know why I'm posting this. Give me 1 second. So if you watch all the drama on YouTube, you know that Diddy obviously has been the subject for a year now on YouTube and other social media platforms. And one of the people who gives the fuel to this fire was two people. One is Gene Deal, his former bodyguard, Diddy's former bodyguard, Puffy's former bodyguard. And then there's Jaguar Wright, who's fueling it from the, not from the other side, but from a similar side, which is to say, look, this guy's a monster. Puff is a monster. Let me tell you all the things he did. And every night, every month, it seemed like the stories got bolder and the network of blame got wider. And by the time Jaguar Wright shows up on Piers Morgan, she's naming names, she's throwing accusations, she's saying she has proof. She's making a pretty compelling case. And so Piers Morgan kept it going. They let her say whatever she wanted about Diddy. The problem is Diddy ain't the only game in town anymore. She talked some stuff about Jay-Z and Beyonce. And, you know, for most of us, it was like, well, people always talk about Jay-Z and Beyonce. They're always saying something crazy. Some of it's true. Some of it probably isn't true. But, you know, you let it roll off your back like, you know, like water off a duck. But no. Jay-Z and Beyonce had their lawyers contact Piers Morgan and tell them, one, is all BS. And two, you better apologize. And three, y'all better delete it. Now, that's my accounting of what happened. But let Piers tell you for himself. You'll understand.
They were not present to respond or defend themselves, but now they have. Their lawyers contacted us to say that those claims were totally false and have no basis in fact, and we've therefore complied with the legal request to cut them from the original interview. Editing interviews is not something we do lightly at a show called Uncensored. But like the proverbial cries of fire in a crowded theatre, there are legal limits on us too. And we apologize to Jay-Z and Beyonce. Well, now, Sean Diddy Combs, think about platforms. The reality of the modern world is that pretty much everyone has a platform as long as they have something to say that other people want to hear.
It's pretty heavy. Couple of things there. First, it's very rare that Piers Morgan is going to issue an apology, and he did it. It's even rarer that he's going to say that I probably shouldn't have had that guest on and not hold them accountable, but he did it. And then also, he shouted them out. He apologized to them, and he said, I'm going to delete the footage. Now, Jaguar Wright was alleging all kinds of stuff about Jay-Z and Beyonce. I don't need to rehash it, but it seemed absurd to me. It seemed far-fetched to me. And I'm not saying Jaguar is a liar. I'm not saying what she's saying isn't true in general. I'm saying this particular story didn't seem right to me. And I wonder what her sources are. And if sometimes she's talking about things as a matter of factly, as if she knows they happened, and they're in fact coming from someone else, and vice versa. And that's for all of us. It's not a criticism of Jaguar. People are giving her space to talk. She's taking it. The question is, as a host, what's your goal in bringing her on? Is it just to trade in salaciousness? Is it just to get the celebrities mad? What is the point? That's always the question. So it's something we need to think about as we talk about this stuff. There was another story, y'all, but I am going to cover it at another time, probably tomorrow, or we'll do another live. But I'm going to wrap up this live just because honestly I'm not feeling great, and I want to make sure that we cover the important stuff, but I also don't want to make myself not feel well or feel worse. You know, I'm starting to realize that I need some self-care. So everybody, thanks for watching Night School tonight. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that join button. When you hit the like button, the subscribe button, the join button, you make us stronger, you make us bigger, you give us the stability that we need, and you help us move forward. So if you can, please hit the join button and become a member. Feel free to purchase guest memberships for folk. That makes everything amazing. Also, you can use these platforms right here: Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, or Zelle. Send them over. $1 is amazing. $1 million is amazing. Anything in between is amazing. But if everyone watching right now were to donate $10, we would meet our financial goals for the month. So think about sending that $10 donation to PayPal, Venmo, or Zelle. We would be most appreciative, y'all. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. And I'll see y'all tomorrow.